When I started refereeing in 1978, so that's almost 4 decades ago, Jane had already been refereeing for 10 years. So today, or this year, we celebrate 5 decades of refereeing from Jane. An incredible accomplishment. I know when I first met Jane, I was the beneficiary of an incredible group of legacy officials, many of whom are currently in the Hall of Fame. Jane, along with the likes of Vale Savage, Harish Dalpatram, Mike Rockwell, Gary McWilliams, and Vic Lindell, all paved the way for young officials like myself to learn the game and learn the art of refereeing. I remember meeting Jane at a high school girls tournament at New West Secondary, and Jane's characteristics then are the same strengths that I see in her today. She is the consummate professional. She's absolutely cool under pressure. In fact, I've never seen her lose her temper or get flustered. So whatever's happening inside her, you certainly can't see it outside. She has an incredible knowledge of the rules and of the nuances of the game. She has a passion that's continued for so long that I admire so much. She continues to give back to refereeing in so many ways. She's been instrumental in the Women in Officials program. She handles a lot of clinics and evaluations. She's like the Energizer Bunny, just never stops. She conducted herself with incredible professionalism, and she had the time of day for anyone. So for me, someone learning the game, I was probably not a very good official, and I gave her lots of room to find improvements for me. I remember traveling in my first road trip as an official into Oregon with Jane, and she was incredible calming me down before some international matches. To this day, Jane leaves her touch on hundreds of officials. She provides countless hours at clinics, at practicums, instructing, and she does so with a smile every single day. I can't think of a more worthy inductee into the Hall of Fame.
Sorry, I'm not quite as tall as everybody else. Had to bring the mic down a bit here. Well, it has been 5 decades. Unbelievable, hey? So before I start, I'd actually say congratulations to all of the other inductees. I remember you when you were young. Right? I'd like to start also by thanking the Volleyball Association for honoring me with this award. Okay? There's a very close friend of mine here who once said to me, there's 3 things people need to fear the most. One is fear of heights. I'm a referee and I stand on those stands. And those of you from many years ago know what our referee stands were like, right? We had the table, we had the ladder, we had the table with the chair on top, and you hope and pray that nobody knocked you over. Especially for my height, I had the extra built-up height there, right? Second was the fear of dying. Well, I'm not that old yet. Third was the fear of public speaking, and here I am in front of all of you. So 2 out of the 3, here we go, right? So there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child, right? That can also be applied to our association, as it takes many different components to create our village. And we, as this year's inductees, are only a part of this village. You know, I can go back and there's so many memories that I have, hey? When I hear all of you inductees talking, I'm going, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. You know, just so many things, hey? We all have special citizens in our villages. And first off, I'd like to introduce people who have supported me through many aspects of my life. And like, I can't quite remember who said, I've been 5 decades doing this. Not 5 years, 5 decades. Okay, so think of that. So I'd like to thank my table over there, table number 5, that have family and friends over there. They've come to support me at this special time. I've got my cousin Shannon and her daughter Sarah, who have flown in from Edmonton for tonight. I've got Kevin, my nephew, who I actually twisted his arm at some point way back when he was a volleyball referee, and his wife Tammy. I have Carl, whom I've coached with in the Kanaka Volleyball Association, and his wife Val. Margaret, who has supported me by walking my dogs so that I could go to all these tournaments and games. And then I've got Dan and Sandy, who have also mentored me and coached me in many aspects of my life. So I've been so blessed to have these people on my court with me. Thank you very much. So the next thing that came up was, after finding out that I was receiving this award, it's like, well, what do I talk about? It's been 5 decades. What do I say? Like, where do I start? Okay, so I thought, well, I'm a referee, so I guess I could start talking about refereeing. How did I get started? Well, any of you out here that are referees? No. It's your PE teacher that comes and says, hey, you, I need someone to referee tonight, right? Like, oh God, you'll be good, get out there. Okay, I thought, no, that's 99% of us, right, that are referees. So I decided I wouldn't talk about that, right? So I'm a teacher, a PE teacher, and I'm still teaching. So one day I thought I'd talk to my students about, receiving this award and what it means to me. And one of my students asked me a very simple question. He said to me, what are a couple of your highlights? I mean, I've got so many in my life, right? So the 2 things that came to me immediately, like just flash right away, was 2 volleyball matches that I've done. One was a high school match between Little Flower Academy versus Notre Dame, okay? It was a city finals, and I don't know when it was way back when. And the crowd in that gym, the gym was packed. People were yelling and screaming. They had the drums, bam, 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 and they were all behind me, right? And just the enthusiasm and the cheering, it was phenomenal. And we're talking about a high school girls match, okay? Right? And the excitement was there, the parents, everybody. It was just, it went 5, and I don't even remember who won, but it went 5, right? It was amazing. And even to this day, you don't really see that in high school girls matches, okay? And I love just kind of being a part of that, As somebody said, as a referee, I don't want to be somebody that somebody remembers. I'm just back there. Let them play. It's their game. It's their day in the spotlight. It's not mine, right? So I just love that feeling. And then about 2 months later, I was at the Pacific Coliseum. So I'm going from a high school match to the Pacific Coliseum. Now we've got China versus Russia. And there's over 2,000 people, 3,000 people in the stands, right? And there's all that noise and everything happening there. There was the same excitement, the same feeling I had, right? You're going from a high school to an international match, but I still had the same feeling, okay? So I take that, and then I go several decades later. We're in Edmonton at the World Masters Games. Anybody here participate in that? Right? Okay, yeah, right? The World Masters, okay, it's there. And it's kind of like, for those that weren't there, it's kind of like a mini, no, I would actually say for most of us that was there, it was a major Olympics, eh? Right? I mean, just because we were older, it doesn't mean it wasn't our Olympics, okay? So it was like an Olympics there. And I actually got to referee a women's China, and I don't remember what age group it was, China versus, and I believe it was Brazil. I'm not quite sure who the other team was. After the match, this woman comes up to me, who was on the Chinese delegation, with an interpreter. She comes up and through the interpreter, she says, "I remember you." Uh-oh, like, is that good or bad? I don't know, right? And as a referee, you never know what they're gonna say, eh? How could you remember me? Like, we're talking a long time ago when that other match happened. And I said, "I don't know you. How do you remember me?" She says, "I was the captain of that Chinese team." I go, "Oh, okay." And she said, "I had never seen a female referee before. I had never had a female referee before," right? Okay. So it's like, whoa, okay, you know? And that scenario has actually played a few times in my history of refereeing, because we female referees were not known until maybe 10, 20 years ago, okay? Other than that, it was always, men on the stand, okay? I never got my international referee because women couldn't get it back then. It was all a male thing. But I was fortunate enough to be early enough that we didn't have international referees here in BC yet. Okay, so I got to do some of those international matches. So that scenario happened several times through some of the years that I had been refereeing, and that, you know, that always made me feel really good. I didn't feel proud, like, yeah, man, all right. It was me being me, and it was kind of like, I'm a pioneer for women, okay? And, you know, I just kind of hope that through that, the other females can get involved in refereeing and look at what we can do out there. I'm still working on getting more women in the sport, refereeing in the sport. And Liz back there, she's been pushing me forward and telling me, "No, you can't stop yet, you got to keep going." And I look at Liz and I figure Liz, seeing we're about the same height, actually she's a little smaller than me, a little shorter than me, that she's the next Kublick. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. There was a match last year, maybe 2 years ago, and we're standing, it was at UBC, it was a women's match, and we're standing there. There was myself, Liz, and 2 female lines people, and I look at them, and I kind of had a little snicker, whatever you say, and I went, "This is a first in my life," and Liz kind of looked at me, "I'm the tallest one here." Right? Needless to say, the 3 of them were Asians. Okay? But I was the tallest person. So I can't believe that, okay? So I did ask myself one other question after answering that to the young men that asked me, how long did I manage to do this? Like, we're talking over 50 years, okay? How did I manage? And as I look at this, I think there's many aspects to refereeing. It's just not blowing the whistle, right? It's not making the right calls. It's not making money. We really don't get paid a lot for volleyball referees. But there's also the friendships. I look around here, and those of you that have come, Patty, I haven't seen you for years, okay? But I could tell you stories about Patty. I could tell you stories about other people here, right? And, right? You know, and it's because I've been around so long, and I've seen you grow. Not just as players, from players to adults, all right? The friendships develop throughout the years. And it's not just the refereeing community. I look at it, and I look at players who turn into adults. And the adults, the parents now, have their kids playing volleyball. And she's not here right now, but there's a lady by the name of Nora. I coached her in club at the Kanaka Volleyball Club, right? And her daughter played for UBC. So I've gone from player to parent down to player again that I'm refereeing against, right? So, you know, I've been doing this long enough that I see all this happening. I see many generations. Now, I know there's some young officials out here, and my last few little comments are going to be, for you young officials, the only thing I say is you've got to enjoy the ride. You can't think you're going to make a lot of money in the sport, because it's not going to happen, okay? It won't, forget it, you know? And you've got to look at us mature referees, okay? You can't look at us and say, look at that call, look at that signal, that's the wrong signal. What's the difference between a touch out and a touch out, right? Okay, the old signal, touch. The new signal, touch. Hello, okay? What's the difference? It's still a touch out, right? Okay? So anyways, we might not also know the new lingo out there, okay? But the thing that we mature officials, we have command of the match, we have the respect of the coaches and the players, and I just hope that through watching us, you can learn. That's all I'm asking. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for giving me the award this year, and thank you very much.